My name is Justin Decloux, and I'm here today with
Will Sloan.
and you're listening to the Important Cinema Club.
Take me out to the ball game.
The crack of the bat, the ball is flying, the sun is shining down, and I'm just drinking my brewskis and eating my hot dog.
So I went to a baseball game with Justin earlier this week. And Justin, longtime listeners will know, has for the past year been calling himself a baseball guy.
Jokingly.
Or so I thought. But when I got there, I realized it's no joke. He really is a baseball guy now. Every time somebody came up to bat, he was peppering me with statistics and facts. He was telling me all about the rules of the game, which I thought I knew. But it turns out there are a whole bunch of other rules I didn't know.
Well, so when I call myself a baseball guy last year, what was I reading? Was it a baseball manga or baseball movie? It was something like that. And a listener pointed out that when I said that, the Blue Jays started doing well, and then they went to the World Series. So I watched all of those games and then kind of followed along afterwards. And
The city had baseball fever last year.
Yeah, complete baseball
Everyone
fever.
was following it.
And I'll get into this more as we go along, but baseball is something that I always kind of liked, but it took me a while to get there.
So I've always liked baseball. Of the team sports, I've liked it the most because it's chill.
Yeah.
It's warm. I like hot dogs and popcorn. I enjoy beer, you know? And so all these things.
If you had asked me like 15 years ago what your favorite sport is, I would have probably said like, basketball, because I love how it's fast moving, it never like stops. And now I'm like exactly like Will. I like baseball because it moves at its own pace. You can follow, there's no real rush, and that it's not a linear path in the way that hockey.
With hockey, and I think we agree on this, it's like one end of the ice, other end of the ice, one end, the other, and then somebody scores by accident.
Okay, well.
Sorry. I know we have a lot of hockey fans listening.
Yes.
And that's great.
But, baseball, it's everyone's playing on the field, different positions, and people are like, in hockey, they do that too. But
There's something so grid-like about it.
I just love watching it. I love that when a moment happens, the audience reacts as one. There's like a building tension when a ball gets hit.
The tension and release of it.
Or and the other thing about when we went to the game, some of the biggest things that happened if you were watching it on TV, if you weren't locked in, we were very high up, you wouldn't know because people were chatting, they're eating their popcorn, like they don't even notice. But a home run happened, not a peep from anyone.
But don't you love how like innings will go by and nothing happens, and then
boom, a double play.
But also the double play will be preceded by like gradual. It's like playing Risk or something where it's like we got somebody on one base. Oh, now they're on the other base. Bases loaded, and then. Oh, third guy got out. Or
4 points.
Home
Grand
run.
slam.
Home run.
Yeah. Or like, oh my God, he tried to go for the ball and he missed it. It bounced. He's going.
But baseball is the favorite sport of many of our greatest structuralist filmmakers, like James Benning, for example. They love that it's like slow cinema.
And it's also, like, if you're a nerd, it is the ultimate buffet of statistics. That, like, everything is a record being broken, or you've never done this, you've never done that.
And I just think if you can watch a baseball game, you can watch an Andy Warhol movie.
Yeah, I guess.
You can watch.
I don't know if the Andy Warhol films have the release or tension at times of a baseball game.
Well, yeah, but they have like the staring at the Empire State Building quality of it,
Yeah, they do. But there's also and I gotta say, Major League Baseball, as I was explaining to Will, has changed over the years. That now pitchers have to pitch in a set amount of time. It only started this year, challenge a pitch across the plate, and then everybody gets to watch on the screen. Or as me and Will did, because we were literally in the rafters, half of the screen because it's blocked by the lights.
That's right.
The other thing about baseball is hockey is a sport that costs a lot of money. So does football. Baseball, anyone can play. You don't even have to be in shape to play baseball. And I love that about the sport. I want to see the fattest guy get out on the pitching mound. He has a scorching arm, and he can barely run bases.
Now, team sports like this, they lend themselves to movies for a lot of
dramatic reasons.
Like, it's 9 innings, and so you got a built-in structure there.
It's interesting that, very few films utilize, the lengths of a baseball game. That more often than not, it's, in a montage, and then it comes down to the big, important play. And the other thing that is interesting about baseball is that when you're telling a dramatic story about it, the majority of the time the pitcher is the protagonist because they're the ones that are perceived to have the most control over the game. So it's about how they pitch, how they can get people out. I mean, that's actually not the case for a lot of the baseball movies that we watched for this episode, but I love just kind of the hangout vibe of baseball as well. And it's not about winning. Winning is cool, but baseball and I feel a lot of sport movies, it's about mostly playing the game. And because of the way that baseball is structured, you can have little victories within that one inning. Now, does that matter in the long run? If you lose the game in real life? Not really. Like in a Blue Jays game that they lost recently, someone grabbed the ball and pitched it behind their back to the second baseman. Amazing play. They lost the game. It doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But within a movie, that little moment is its own story.
And most team sports, and especially baseball, it lends itself to drama because you've got the opposing team, there's your built-in ready-made villain. But then within the team, there are so many characters. You can have so many different kinds of characters, so many different dynamics. You got the coach and the team.
I don't remember who I heard say this, but like, if you have a good quarterback, you can win football games. If you have the best pitcher in the world, it does not mean that you will win baseball games because you can't hit. And so the movies that I wanted to talk about on this particular episode, this is not the last baseball episode. I told Will this. I'm like, this is number one. Is it the sport that has the most movies about it?
I mean, boxing is up there.
Oh, you know what? Boxing is probably number one.
Listen, I'm not a statistics guy, unlike you.
Not yet.
What I do know is that, folks, it's America's pastime, and it may also be America's movie genre, because when you look at, we're going to talk about them.
Going back to being a kid, baseball, how do you get into it? I played t-ball when I was a kid, and I think I was bad at it. And I have memories of playing baseball and being really bad at it as well. And then I was forced into soccer, which I hated. And I played that throughout junior high. But Will has a different story.
I played baseball right up into high school, and I also coached the team.
Wait. You coached the team?
Yeah.
I did not know this.
Well, listen.
Wait. How are you coaching the team?
So
let's get the grizzled old hand of Will Sloan. They come and get you, and you're like, I'm done with this life.
It was a very small league, and I think my dad coached the team the year before, and then it was me and another person who was an adult. But the thing is, I actually did everything.
Really? Okay.
But that didn't actually mean much in practice.
So what was the name of the team? You don't remember?
I can't remember. It was Kipling Grove Softball League, for what that's worth. And basically, being a coach at my limited level of skill just involved like coming up with the batting order and like putting people out into the field.
So are you like strategically going like, all right, we need this one as a cleanup, this one as the...
Yes, I was.
Oh, you were? Okay.
Well,
you're thinking about it.
I was very much thinking about it because, based on what I had, it's like, well, the one who can't throw, you put him on second base.
Which is where you were.
That's where I was. Absolutely. I found that out. And I can't...
Don't you put him out in the outfield? I guess you need an arm in case it goes far and you catch it. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Second base and shortstop. And I remember coming home and saying to my dad, oh, so now I know why you put me on second. That's because I couldn't throw. I mean,
we've been working that arm for years now. Now it's like a cannon.
I mean, listen, folks. The problem with our team, we did pretty well, but we just didn't have a pitcher. I got some of my volunteer hours for that. Actually,
the classic Ontario, like you need those volunteers hours. They will not let you graduate if you don't get. I think it was 20 or something.
I think it was
like
40.
Yeah. I remember. I think I got them at like a book fair and like at a golf tournament volunteering.
And thank God, because you became a good member of society thanks to that. So we're here to talk about baseball movies, and we're talking about baseball movies from a number of different eras.
And not ones that are just like sports genre. That like, the underdog team, they're going to come in, they're going to struggle. Will they win? Will they lose? Because I think baseball, because it represents so much, it can be approached in many different ways. And of course, the first one we're going to talk about is the most wooden of them all, that is barely representative of baseball, but is in some ways representative of America itself.
So wooden, in fact, that it was directed by Mr. Sam Wood.
And wait, what did Groucho Marx have to say about Sam Wood once?
I mean, supposedly, I don't even believe this happened, but supposedly when he was directing A Night at the Opera and he was very frustrated, Sam Wood said, well, I guess you can't make an actor out of clay. And Groucho said, and you can't make a director out of wood.
Hey,
now, it doesn't, it feels too good. It feels reverse engineered, but I hope it's true.
And the thing about Sam Wood is, there's no shooters for this guy. Like, if you're no turret for Sam Wood, good luck to you.
That's not true, because I have a book. I have one of those, the Film Professional series. Has a whole chapter about Sam Wood, talking about him as a solid craftsman.
Oh, you know what? I will say that. Solid craftsman. But
don't say that. No, Sam Wood sucks.
Yeah, Sam Wood stinks.
Maybe I haven't seen enough Sam Wood movies to make that call, but I have.
So we watch Pride of the Yankees, the Lou Gehrig story.
Oh, well, I have to admit, I didn't revisit this one because I saw it a year ago.
On a shimmering 60mm print.
Yeah, I saw it at the Vista Theater. Our friend Simon Barrett suggested it. He and I went, And when we left, he was a little apologetic, and I
I mean, you probably had a shit-eating grin.
Oh,
like you would
and
never.
I was like, please don't apologize. I had a great time watching that movie. We watched it at the Video Archive Cinema Club at the Vista Theater.
Here's the thing about Pride of the Yankees, and this is what I locked in for its more than 2-hour running time. It looks great because it's shot by Carl Theodor Dreyer, cinematographer.
Rudolph Maté.
Yeah, he's really good at what he does, especially when he's working with the most banal material in the world.
So I kind of like this movie. I mean, not much, but a little bit. I think this movie captures the spirit of a baseball game. It's over 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's slow. And
no drama.
No drama. And, you can go get a hot dog if you want.
And come back. Yeah. Well, it's a movie that was never meant to exist past the year of its release.
Yeah. So because America had Lou Gehrig fever.
I mean, they didn't. Only Lou Gehrig
he had
did.
Lou Gehrig fever.
Yeah.
But Lou Gehrig was one of the most loved people in the world. And here was a movie that came along to say, you think he was a good man? He's even better.
Now, what's interesting about the film, watching it in the year of our Lord 2026, doesn't give me much of a reason to understand why they loved him as a baseball player.
Because he's such a good man.
He was just good.
Well, first of all, he was a great baseball player who...
For the Yankees.
He really hit the old ball, you know?
Yep.
And he was on a team. He was
also born prematurely old. Because he's a young man in this film. But he's played by Gary Cooper.
He has Dewey Cox disease for sure.
Hey, Ma, it's me. I'm like this 47-year-old Gary Cooper who looks 65 years old.
Speaking of prematurely old, Babe Ruth is on the team. And, a really old and fat man, a man who looks like he's melting, comes on screen.
Now, we want to be clear.
And you say, who'd they get to play Babe Ruth?
It's Babe Ruth.
It's Babe Ruth himself.
Yeah, he looks like he's melting, his gin-soaked and hot dog-infested face.
You were saying you love baseball because fat guys can play it.
Oh,
it's like, I don't know about this fat guy anymore.
Wait, was he still playing?
I don't think so.
Baseball in that year. And so this movie is just Lou Gehrig's story. There is no conflict. The only conflict is like, oh boy, what if my mom learns that I'm playing baseball? And she's like, hey, I'm fine with it.
That's right. He was supposed to do his studies. Well, actually, there was another moment of conflict because, his wife in the film, played by Teresa Wright, 2/3 the way in, halfway in, she's like, oh, he hasn't been coming home at night. Oh, I bet he's up to something. Oh, I'm going to go find Lou Gehrig. And you think, oh, is Lou Gehrig cheating on her? And they race out to find him. And he's been teaching baseball to the orphans. He's such a good man. That's all the movie is. It's scene after scene after scene of him being a good man.
And if you think it's going to deal with the terrible disease that he had, no, he walks away. We're not going to talk about this.
Well, it kind of does. I mean, at the end, he
gives a big speech.
He loses his ability to play, and then he is diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease. Do you ever see the Norm Macdonald sketch where he plays Lou Gehrig? He says, it looks like newsreel footage. He's like, today I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. And everyone applauds, and he goes, I'm being sarcastic. I have a disease so rare, they named it after me.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking of the parody in The Critic where it's a new ending of Pride of the Yankees to make it more happy. Check it out. I think Bill Cosby is in it as well.
Oh, thank God.
And this movie, again, not one I will ever reach for again in my life.
You didn't find it pleasant.
I find it really tiresome.
I don't know why I'm shooting for this movie.
I want to be clear. Sometimes Will does this, that he will shit on a movie up until we start recording. And then he comes in and he's like, oh, I kind of liked it. When all the time before, I was like, I like the pretty images in this movie. And Will was like, yeah, but the rest of the movie sucks. You're buttering me up. You know what? That's a good baseball strategy.
I mean, two things can be true.
Yeah.
I had a really nice time watching this movie on a 16mm print.
With a friend in LA.
That's right. And, it's boring. It's boring. But
did you fall asleep like 10 minutes in and wake up at the end when the speech is happening?
I kept waiting for something to happen. And I think I was kept in, like a real baseball game, I was kept in suspense waiting for something to happen.
But the whole existence of this movie is just to make money off the name of Lou Gehrig. And so they can't have any drama because people just want to be like, oh, he's just a good guy.
I mean, that's a cynical way to look at it. It could just be...
You don't think
to pay tribute to
Lou
Gehrig.
Yeah. They donated all the proceeds to a new hospital.
I mean, again, this is one of those movies that only makes sense in the time it was made when America just wanted to. Well, and also
Didn't the programmer of perhaps this screening that you did is like, this is a great movie. I remember you telling me that, and you went in a little excited at the time.
Well, I just know that it was
the mysterious programmer.
It was ranked like the number 3 movie on the AFI's top 10 sports movies or something.
Holy shit. All right. I'm gonna need to bring this
It's
up.
number 22 on AFI's list of most inspiring movies.
Oh, okay. And so you went in like hoping that like, oh, maybe there's something to be discovered here.
No, not really, because I knew
You saw Sam Wood.
Sam Wood
Yeah,
directed
yeah.
it.
Ugh, not good.
I think one reason why this movie is like so boring now is because we don't really have a relationship with
Well, that's
Lou
the
Gehrig.
thing, right? Like, who would be the equivalent today? Like, that won't happen. It would just be treated as a vanity film.
No, for this summer we're getting the Michael Jackson biopic, and like,
Is he like Lou Gehrig though? Like,
what I'm saying is that movie is just going to tell you how great he was. And but
wait. You don't think they're going to deal with?
no, I don't think they're going to deal with it.
I mean, but they legally could not, and they had
That's
to
right.
cut out the whole ending of the movie.
But the point is, like, people still have a relationship with Michael Jackson. People still listen to his music, still love his music, still love everything about him, including that. Nobody really cares about Lou Gehrig anymore. Sorry, if you love Lou Gehrig, you are seen, you are heard.
Ugh, the Yankees.
But it's like,
sorry, I'm a baseball guy now.
Sports from 90 years ago, it doesn't have the same audience that even movies from 90 years ago have.
And again, we need to be made clear. Those movies come out. They do not think there will be a second life for this film. It exists within the window of its release, and then it goes away somewhere. Maybe they'll burn it.
Yeah, for the war effort. Did you like Gary Cooper in the movie at least?
He's Gary Cooper. He's
charming.
good. He's charming. He's good.
Yeah.
He just doesn't
In
have
his
much to work
wooden way.
with. Yeah. I love Babe Ruth every time when he's like, "Hey Lou, how's it going?"
So I know that you also watched another movie I've seen recently, Bull Durham.
I have, yes. And Bull Durham, great baseball movie.
I love Bull Durham,
Can't movies be allowed to be sexy again?
but actually,
I mean, I'm not being sarcastic.
I
Yes,
mean-
I genuinely believe in that. And a film, okay, so watching something like Bull Durham, I start like mulling in my mind, like, what separates this lackadaisical, kind of like easygoing pace with a endless, prestige
Slog.
TV show or like a Netflix movie that has like no direction. And I think that Bull Durham, what comes down to it, number one, movie stars on screen, just popping right off.
all three of them are great.
Tim
All three of them
Robbins,
are the best version of the thing they do.
Kevin Costner, Susan Sarandon. I mean, and we have the real puppet master who's holding it all afloat, Robert
Robert, couldn't even get through his name. Robert Wool.
Robert Wool. Who we all remember from, what was it, sitcom that he started?
Arliss.
And of course he's in Batman.
Of course
I'm
he's in
still
Batman.
alive.
Yeah.
And Ron Shelton, who directed this film, he played in the minor leagues. So the film just feels like really lived in.
The movie has a wonderful sense of atmosphere,
Yeah.
like the diamond where they play.
It feels like you're at a baseball game.
And I also think structurally, the movie feels long.
It does, yes.
But it feels like you're with them for the whole season. In the same way that when you're at a baseball game, it feels long, but it also feels structured. And you feel like you're never too bored because the end is always in sight. You always know what the structure is that's following you along. I feel like Bull Durham is kind of like that.
And what it does that like the best sports movies can do is that it never feels about winning the big game. They talk about it, I think, in passing at one point, like, we're winning a bunch of games, but there's never like a moment of like, you missed that fly. If we had just gotten this, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of like little moments here or there. And then eventually you're cut from the team because you're just not performing anymore.
Okay, so this morning I watched Bad News Bears, the Michael Ritchie, Walter Matthau original.
Ugh, love Michael Ritchie.
And you've never seen it.
Well, of course I've seen Bad News Bear. Billy Bob Thornton, all the kids that, they got post School of Rock.
I am giving Bad News Bears my highest recommendation. I think it's a masterpiece. And it just got me wondering, why are so many of the great baseball movies about failure?
I think as baseball, out of all the games, football is limited to what, like 2-3 months? Baseball goes forever, and you play, if you're in the major leagues, 162 games. Failure is cooked into the DNA of baseball. You will fail. The other thing about baseball, too, is that, like, hey, man, we lost. Even if we had the best players, just didn't go our way. There's so many variables. That's what baseball is.
And it's not like, boxing movies.
Yes.
Such a cinematic genre, but they're like gladiators.
And the thing about boxing is you can link that specifically to like, oh, you weren't strong enough. Oh, you didn't have enough endurance. Oh, you didn't have the speed to you. Baseball is so amorphous, and that's what makes it like special. That's why it works so well on the screen. That's why failure is so kind of baked into it. Yeah. Everyone can play a baseball game too. Not everyone is boxed. And if you played a baseball game, you have lost a baseball game, and you know what that feels like.
Yeah.
And it's also like the failure of it is part of a team, and I think that is very important too, as opposed to individual things that when you lose, like, it hurts more, I guess.
Yeah, and so, Bad News Bears, which, skip ahead 30 seconds, I'm going to spoil the end of Bad News Bears.
Yeah.
They don't win the big game. But it's different than in Rocky when he doesn't win the big game. Because even though Rocky fails, it's like...
It's victorious.
It's victorious, and it's like...
Because he lasted till the end.
Yeah, exactly. Or in Raging Bull, when it's like, you didn't knock me down. It's a different kind of failure, you know?
But do you think in Bad News Bears, it is still kind of a cynical failure that is kind of representative of the era of when the film came out?
Well, yeah. So it is kind of, but then it's a movie about how failure's fine when you're having fun.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, who cares at the end of the day?
Yeah.
Because like if you look at any sports stories, people that win like rarely get talked about that much. It's the stories behind those sports, for example. That's what's most interesting about them.
I mean, I know that you just watched a movie that's very much kind of in the spirit of Bad News Bears, which is EEPHUS from last year, which I think is fantastic.
Love it. It definitely would have been on my top 10. And I knew it was going to be on top. I was like, I'll get to it eventually because I know I'm going to love it. And I did. It's literally the story of, if people don't know the plot of EEPHUS, there's a baseball diamond. It's about to be paved over to make place for a school and a baseball league of just normal guys in their 30s and 40s. A
beer league, guys who meet on the weekend to play.
Are playing their last game. When you hear that, you're like, oh, is there dramatic conflicts between everybody and they'll be reaching a point? But no. Not really.
Yeah, I mean,
oh man, the last line of like the guy being like, "So this is it? That's it?" And it's like, yeah, that's what playing a baseball game is.
I mean, it's a really funny movie. It's also like quietly powerful in its way because, baseball is one of those things. I mean, sports is the great unifier in society. Like you can always talk about sports, no matter what your ideological or generational or whatever differences. You can say like,
this team.
How about the Jays this season? And I think EEPHUS captures something of that, where it's like these guys who have nothing else in common. They meet on the weekends, they play, and when the diamond gets paved over, they're never going to see each other again.
No, they even like at the end they're talking like, hey, maybe we should get together for winter, and I have your contact. No, it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
this is the only interaction they will have.
And so there's a deep sadness in the movie. I mean, it's not an overbearing, it's not depressing, but there's the deep sadness of things passing, and people that you saw because it was a situational friendship you'll never see again.
But you don't even get a sense in EEPHUS, and I think this is important, that they're even like the best of friends. Like they interact. It's something to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's not even like, I'll treasure these memories we've made together forever.
Yeah.
Like the guy you think is the protagonist of the movie just disappears halfway through, and that's kind of the point of the movie.
I heard that wasn't in the original script.
Really?
But there was some scheduling conflict and he had to leave, so they wrote that in. Perfect.
It feels like it's meant for the film. So what would the movie have been if it had gone on like, because that character's story is so clear, and they keep talking about it, and it's like, oh no, he's leaving now.
Yeah, so, it's perfect because that's how it is.
Anyway, EEPHUS, very good baseball movie, representative of basically what baseball is. That feeling of, I mean, they make it literal in the film that an EEPHUS pitch, they're like, it's one that hangs in the air, like doesn't look like it's moved, like this moment that we're living in right now. The other thing about EEPHUS that's amazing is that it's like 90 minutes, but it feels much longer by design, even though it's not like Simon Lang movie or anything like that. We're staring at a wall for 30 minutes.
No, although it's clearly inspired by Goodbye Dragon Inn a little bit. I think it feels longer because they play past the point that you would expect them to play.
They just keep playing.
You become a little rudderless at a certain point.
Where it's like the reps are gone. We're going to do this democratically.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of doing things democratically, Justin got me to watch a movie I'd never heard of that I think is a real discovery. It's by Kihachi Okamoto, who directed Sword of Doom. He directed Kill.
Yeah, The Human Bullet.
But he also directed a movie in 1978 called Dynamite Don Don, which I had never heard of before.
Yeah, this is one that came on my radar because I know the person who did the fan subs for this movie. And he's like, yeah, out of all the films that I fan sub, like this is the one I would recommend the most. And there is, when you look at, you're like, 142 minutes.
Know.
Is it going to be like a slog? Not at all.
When I started the movie and I saw it was this long, I groaned.
Yeah.
But then
142 minutes, the way to approach it is like, yeah, but you get two movies in one.
I mean, this movie is never boring.
Yeah.
So what happens is it's set in 1950, kind of in the ashes of post-war Japan. American influence is everywhere. It's part violent Yakuza drama. It's part...
So there's like warring clans, like different organizations that are fighting over land.
But it's also part social satire because with all this American influence, they want to settle their differences democratically. And what more democratic way than the great American pastime, baseball?
But when you're talking about satire, it's the idea of like, oh, we present that we're all following the rules and we're doing it the right way. But in reality, they're cheating and they're trying to find every violent way to get around it. And like the matches that they play, and you see 2 of them in full are just like,
which is amazing.
packed with like violence and fights, and they keep breaking it up and making. And what's great is that like the players, they train a little bit, but it's not really about that. It's about like, you just have to keep going. I'm swinging the bat as hard as I can, hoping I'm hitting, missing 95% of the time, but maybe there'll be a 1% there.
And, one team is much better financed. They have the best players. The other team is more like the Bad News Bears.
But just the performances of all they're very big performances, which you feel could have gotten tiring. I mean, it's led by the king of Yakuza pictures, Bunta Sugawara, who is in like all the Battles Without Honors and Humanities movies. Man, we've been recording for so long, I'm losing my tongue. Battle Without Honor and Humanity, the Kinju Fukasaku series. Gives like one of those big performances, just works perfectly, which like, baseball itself, we talk about how slow and how dull it can be at times, and that's what we like about it. This is like the opposite, where everything is like turned up to 11 in the way that it plays out.
Yeah, no, it's a hugely maximalist movie. There's always something happening. It's like it's brightly colorful and dynamically shot and edited. As I say, it's a very violent movie at times. There's just always something going on.
Yeah.
Whether it's like a love triangle plot or what have you.
And it's, at the end of the day, like about the game as well and what the game represents. Even if you're bad at it, even if it's performative, just participating is what really matters. That there's so many parts in these games where you're like, well, any normal game would just be called off at this point.
Yeah.
But it's not about that. It's about like, oh, you get back up, you do it, you reach the end of that 9th inning. Why do you play? What does it mean to win? And it's another movie like, it doesn't really matter who wins at the end, because that's not what the movie's about.
A Yakuza baseball movie.
Yeah.
That's all the pitch you need.
And that delivers on both fronts. That it's not like, oh, you get a little bit of this and more of this. It's like, no. If you go in wanting both those things, I guess the only reason you'd be disappointed is like too over the top for me. To which I say, maybe Yakuza films are not for you. Because that's kind of their bread and butter.
And the movie's about as long as a baseball game is. But
142 minutes.
But like, where are you going?
Yeah, if you go see a baseball game, that's what you'll be experiencing. Yeah. And I've heard from people that have seen this with the crowd that it's like gangbusters, that like people just really get into it. So hopefully some company, I would love to see this in a theater with like an unsuspecting audience.
I would say, one more thought I have about baseball movies is I much more gravitate to the ones that are about like losers and misfits than I do the ones that are mythical, the ones that are about like...
So like Field of Dreams, for example.
Or The Natural, for example.
No one likes The Natural anymore.
Lots of people... Well,
I mean...
it's on TV all the time.
All the time. And I mean, The Simpsons probably parodied it again this year, like it's their go-to movie.
Yeah, to me, that's not what it's about.
All right, I made a big, bold, declarative statement. It's okay if you like The Natural. Maybe me and Will rewatch it and we'll rediscover it over again.
Justin's sensitive because I think you said something negative about...
Madigan.
Or was it Don Siegel's The Killers?
No, it was Madigan. I said that it's not good, and people... I got so many messages from people.
Well, Jonathan Rosenbaum agrees with you.
Yeah, there you go. And that man has never had an incorrect opinion. It feels like a baseball game in here. After like weeks of it being under zero, it's getting hot in the recording session. I said this could be the first baseball episode. We're missing so many. Angels in the outfield.
Hardball with Keanu Reeves.
Major League.
Oh, Rookie of the Year.
There you go.
Oh,
there's so many baseball movies that we could still discover.
Trouble with the Curve.
Now, how did you enjoy the experience of going to the baseball game?
Oh, I love going to a baseball game. I'm always careful to go once or twice a year. I always love going to the baseball game because I like the pace of the game, because I like that it's warm, and I like the popcorn is better at the...
Why is the popcorn at baseball like the best popcorn ever? Like, and
I don't know.
Even like when I go to like the little Ottawa, like lower than minor league, and they're giving popcorn, I'm like, yeah, it's better than like shitty ass Cineplex popcorn, which is garbage, and I still stuff it down my throat every time that I go.
Every time I go to Cineplex, I get popcorn. I'm disappointed.
Now, I will say, me and Will may have sat a little high, not for our view, but just climbing up there basically killed us.
Well, it was fun to watch people. I mean, we were in the nosebleeds. It was just fun to watch
nosebleeds,
people one after another.
They were like
struggling,
trying to get up to where we were.
We were thinking of recording this episode like in our seats at the ball game, but
we did not do it because there was a lot of sound effects, and we were right behind the speakers.
I thought that could have just made it more fun.
We would have been so distracted the entire time.
That's fine.
We would have been like, and Dynamite Don.
Charge!
Woo! Let's go, Blue Jays.
Let's play ball.
So we'll see you next year. We're doing another baseball episode.
Do we have any letters, though?
We do have letters. As per usual, you can send us letters at importantcinemaclubpodcast@gmail.com. And our first letter is from Maddox. And he asks, "Hey guys, I have a question for Will. My interest has recently peaked for porn movies, mostly because of your podcast."
Boy. Okay.
So you were.
It's not the legacy I expected.
After watching and enjoying a couple of them, Bijou and Deep Inside Annie Sprinkle being my favorite so far.
Oh, yeah. Deep Inside Annie Sprinkle. I bet you were, how shall I say it, jacking it.
I'm wondering
You
if
were
they're
jacking it, probably.
I'm wondering, a very Norm Macdonald delivery there. I'm wondering if there are any good or interesting books that are great deep dives into this genre, its history, directors, and stars at their peak, which is the 1970s, I presume. I'm more than interested in exploring more of this world. Many thanks for all those wonderful educational and entertaining hours, as well as your reply. Your royal listener from Serbia. Royal? Maybe he meant loyal, but he could be royalty.
Is this the Serbian royal family? Well, here's what I tell you. Before any books, you got to listen to the Rialto Report podcast. The Rialto Report.
Yes.
I mean, first of all, the Rialto Report on their website, it has so many resources. But the podcast in particular, you know, they do these for 10 years. They've done these incredibly long deep dive interviews with various golden age of porn actors and directors, including many who have since left us. So, I mean, I recommend.
And many of them that never wanted to speak of this ever again.
Yeah.
And, the host was able to convince them, and they give very honest interviews.
And like all the interviews are good. One I might recommend is watch the opening of Misty Beethoven by Radley Metzger, and then listen to the interview they did with Constance Money, which is a very powerful interview. But you can't go wrong with any of their interviews. And then I would also recommend, there's a book by Legs McNeil called The Other Hollywood.
Yeah, that's the one that is like an oral history that has a lot of people talking about it.
And for the academic book, a book of film theory called Hardcore by Linda Williams is the best academic book on porn I know of.
And it's maybe a little bit hard to get, but I'm sure there's probably a scan on Internet Archives. There was a book that came out in the late 70s called Skin Flicks.
Oh, yeah.
Interviews with all the people that were doing it during that period when they were a little bit more well-respected.
They
when
were
it was
in
porno
their time.
chic.
Yeah.
So you get like Gerard Damiano, I believe, is in there, and a whole bunch of other people giving very honest interviews. Yeah. And not like looking back like, ugh, what a miserable time. I was not in a good place when I did those things. It's been a while since we did a, sexy director.
Yeah, I mean, have we done all the... Who would we do?
Ooh, we talked about it, and there's a few names we get to, but I think before that we're going to do Gregory Dark.
Oh, yeah, Gregory
Dark. And his because I don't think we can do his porn films in a legal fashion.
Well, Devil and Miss Jones 3.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
There's also
an evil movie,
There's also a recut version of New Wave Hookers.
Which is his big famous film.
That eliminates the problematical stuff.
Mm-hmm. And if you're wondering what we're talking about, Tracy Lords lied about her age, and she was in a lot of Gregory Dark films. So, I think isn't it like Happy Birthday, Tracy Lords is the only one that is like...
It's Tracy, I Love You, I think is what it's called.
And it was like her last one, right?
Yeah, and we probably won't.
We will not be watching
discuss that film.
Ooh. Our next letter is from Mahad, and he mentions first movies and film studies. Hey, Justin and Will, I took a few film study modules during the first half of my English Lit degree at the University of St. Andrew in Scotland. This included an introductory 1001 module, which I sat in the autumn semester of 2021. Please don't remind me about how long ago that actually was at this point. 2021, that was just last year, right, Will?
I mean, it was, yeah, we're still in the pandemic.
As for screenings, I never went to any. Every film was also made available through a link to a screener in the reading list, which I believe began quite recently as a COVID measure. In-person group screenings projected from digital files in lecture halls were just starting back up again while I was there, and it was recommended, but we didn't have to go. If you're interested, and since I've already dredged up my notes, the rest of the module went the Nigerian Netflix original Lionheart for production distribution, Gilda, Stardom, A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, genre, Girl Walks Home Alone at Night is a genre film. I guess it is, like horror and how it approaches it. Twilight, audience fandom, and Alfonso Cuarón's Roma, some kind of conclusory what does cinema mean today week, I guess.
Woof.
I've never seen Roma.
It's fine, whatever. But that's such a... Really, that's what you
That's
choose
a real,
as
what do I got? I guess Roma is what's going to go.
I mean, it's a Netflix movie.
Deadline season meant I skipped most of the material from those last 2 weeks, and to my shame, I still haven't seen either film. At least not sober. Which one did I watch for a drinking game at a party? I'll not confirm or deny. Well, you clearly watched Roma as the one that you...
Yeah.
The second semester module was film historiography, which started with modern times to introduce the idea of modernity.
Well, it's got modern in the title. Yeah.
I need it. There's gears and stuff like that. Before plonking us right in the middle of the 1910s, which I recall was a shock to some people looking for an easy credit. I always regretted a little bit not switching to a joint degree with English and film so I could keep learning and discovery. Thankfully, you guys really scratched that itch with way more esoteric subjects. And for way, way less money. Keep up the great work. Best, Mahad. Mahad, bill's in the mail is what I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, you're allowed to say that as long as you're also a Patreon subscriber.
Yes, and you're paying, let's say, a smaller university tuition for a school. You know what? That's basically what I thought would be shown. There's some interesting choices, like a girl walks alone home at night. And also some like, well, what's on Netflix? Roma? That's the award season film, I guess.
Yeah, but that's some interesting insight. I appreciate that.
And our next letter is from Josh. First off, let me get the praise out of the way. Thank you. As you guys are genuinely the best podcast of all time, and I'll be a Patreon subscriber to the very end. Thank you.
Wow.
Locked in.
Better than Smodcast?
Like early Smodcast? Ooh, that's tough. I have a two-parter for you guys today. Recently, I moved to a bigger city, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, with more rep houses, theaters available to me. Now it's rare for them to show film prints, but a couple of months ago, I saw a 35mm print of Ravenous. I saw Ravenous years ago prior, Home Alone on the Criterion Channel, but when I saw it in the theater on 35mm, it all worked for me. And the print was so pristine, the presenter said the print was only used twice before. Ever since, I've been hooked on seeing 35mm showings. Just this past weekend, Vinegar Syndrome did a cult night at the new Rep House and showed New York Ninja. The print was so gorgeous, it was almost too pristine. I will tell you, if it was a print of New York Ninja, it was struck for the screenings that they did, because that film was not completed before they put it out on Blu-ray.
That's right. Yeah, and I mean, it was edited digitally and everything. Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure it looked fantastic.
Probably, yeah, because it played maybe just half a dozen times. Now, I will say this. Me and Will are always of the belief is like, give me that beat up print when I'm seeing it in the theater.
Yeah.
But not red.
Red. That's the thing. If the print is red, I'm not sure I want it. Although this is all situational. We've said this many times before, but there was that time when we saw the beat up red TV print of Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla.
Love that.
And we saw it for free in the basement of a record store. Now that was great. But in a theater,
I always think of like Creepshow, and I'm like, oh, it was so red. Some people that were with me, like, had never seen the movie before. It's like, you don't want to see it that red as the first time.
Yeah, I'm sure I've said this like 10 times, but I remember seeing Fitzcarraldo on a red print. Yeah, and it's like, what's the point?
The letter continues. Lastly, the aging Rep House showed a 35mm print of two-lane blacktop, and the print was very worn down with tons of scratches. But this just made the experience of that film a million times better. The grimy texture of the film just complemented the movie so well. Now to the first question: am I crazy for skipping Rep House's screenings of films I do want to see with an audience because it's 4K digital and it's not the same experience as seeing a print? Or am I just a pretentious loser?
No, it's not crazy.
Because you want like the experience that you could not have at home.
Exactly. Now, there are many times when I've gone to a rep theater and I've seen like the 4K digital projection, and it's been great because of the audience.
Or that it's a film that is better to be trapped in a theater watching it with no other distractions.
Absolutely. It's your time.
Yeah. And it's tough because like going to the theater will probably be a better experience than watching it at home most of the time.
By definition, almost.
Yeah, because like you're making a conscious effort. You will not be distracted by anything. And if it's an audience-pleasing movie, like, my rapturous experience of watching Mortal Kombat on a 35mm print, I might note. I've never thought I would have that much fun with that movie.
But also think about this. Like, movies typically start at like 7 p.m. So you get off work at 5. And then between 5 and 7, it's like, oh, what do I do with my time now? Then, it's 7 to 10, and then you're home and you're in bed. Like, you're basically sacrificing your whole evening to go see a movie if it's during the week. And so that becomes part of the calculation, right? Of whether it's worth it or not.
The second question is there any movie you guys maybe saw a long time ago, or a movie you've never seen, that you're purposely waiting for a 35mm screening instead of just turning on a Blu-ray at home? No.
I'm pretty realistic about the fact that I don't expect anything to ever play on 35mm. I would say there's not even really anything that I'm waiting to play in a theater.
I think that the theater experience on 35mm is like a treat more than it is like I need this experience to properly watch and consume the movie. So that's the way that I view it a lot of the time.
I mean, what I'll say is there are certain movies like, I ended up watching Satan Tango at home. There was a long time when I was like, oh, I gotta wait to see Satan Tango in a theater, you know, because that's the only way to see it. I used to feel that way about Simon Lang also. I used to be like, oh,
you can watch it at home. He'd probably love for you to watch it at home too.
You can watch it at home. It's fine. So to answer that question, I'll say there have been times when I thought that way, but I don't anymore.
Yeah, I remember once the Toronto Underground was screening Freddy Got Fingered. I was going in and someone was on their way out, and I'm like, oh, you're not staying for Freddy Got Fingered? And they're like, meh, if it was on 35, maybe, but no. And I was
come on.
I was like, this is an audience movie, my man.
I was at that screening, by the way.
Very fun.
Yeah,
love that screening.
It was so great.
Now, what's funny is I think I've seen Freddy Got Fingered 2 or 3 times in a theater, so not a rare occurrence around here, but over a span of 15 years.
Yeah, no, I saw it at Eyesore Cinema a little while ago. And did it play at the Paradise recently?
I think I saw it at the Bloor.
Okay.
Or the Royal, maybe? That sounds about right.
Oh, it's played a lot.
A lot, yeah, it has.
And it's great with an audience.
Yeah, I mean, especially like the audience is self-selecting that's seeing Freddy Got Fingered.
Yeah, so it's not just like people who went to see it opening weekend in 2001 who didn't know what they were getting.
And we've asked this question a lot of times, but I'm trying to think of like, is there a film on 35 millimeter I'd be like, ooh, I want to see that way, and that would be different than the way that I've always experienced it. That's not like Radioactive Dreams, that it doesn't exist in any other form.
I think there definitely are. Honestly, it's a lot of movies. I didn't see it when it played in town, but I have seen Dick Tracy on 35 millimeter. And Dick Tracy is one where like the colors are so strong.
Batman Returns.
I've seen that on 35.
I know it's played on 35.
And it looks better.
Oh, and I mean, we both experienced Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Youth on 35 millimeter.
Oh, looks great on 35. Yeah.
Yeah. The movie,
The movie's not so hot. Yeah.
The letter has one P.S. The past summer, a theater did a Three Stooges marathon focusing on, can you try to get, who would you focus on?
Shemp.
Nope.
Joe.
You may never guess who this. It's not one of the core Stooges.
Emil Sitka.
Emil Sitka.
Oh, fantastic.
Because he's from Pittsburgh, and they told a story where Sitka was working odd jobs around the country. He came home and got a job in a factory after only 2 days of working there. The factory flooded, closed down, and he moved to Hollywood to pursue acting.
That's what happens when you let a stooge or a stooge adjacent person work at your factory. It'll flood.
And then history was made. Figured you guys would appreciate that information. People don't know, Emil Sitka is one of the top supporting actors in Three Stooges short. He's the guy who goes, hold hand, lovebirds.
And hey, if you get a copy of the Journal of Stoogological Studies, edited by me, you'll find an interview between me and his son.
Wow. And Emil Sitka was almost the third Stooge.
That's right.
There's like a couple photos before I think Mo died.
He was going to replace Larry.
Yeah. I was going to replace Larry.
Because Larry had a stroke.
Curly Joe, Emil Sitka, and Mo.
There would have been only one original Stooge in the lineup.
They should have been called like the Three Stooge Experience at that point. Because... But I think it's Mo died, right? That's what
Mo died, yeah.
That's right, because they were going to be in that Al Adamson film.
Blazing Stewardesses. Yeah. And they ended up getting replaced by the Ritz brothers. Although there were two Ritz brothers, not three.
I don't think there's an Emil Sitka episode in us, but maybe, we got to do everything.
Yeah, well, yeah, there will be, because we'll do every subject before we die.
So thank you very much for that letter. And as per usual, you can send us letters to importantcinemaclubpodcast@gmail.com.
So on the Patreon, this week we watched Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia. Na, na, na.
When you're gone, yes. The watcher, how can I carry on?
Now, was it an excuse to spend half of it just singing the praises of Pierce Brosnan? Yes.
Yeah, but did we like Mamma Mia? Did we not like it? You'll have to find out.
Yeah.
So
if you love Mamma Mia, maybe not listen to this one.
But we tried to respect it. So we've been on a bit of a run of silly topics lately, and we are going to do a serious topic soon, but not next week.
No. If anything,
one more silly.
We're doing the silliest topic. The year is 1994.
And when you think 1994 in cinema, I bet there's one name you think of.
Mr. Jim Carrey. Somebody stop me.
Oh, somebody stop us, because we're going to do 1994, the year of Jim Carrey.
So that is Dumb and Dumber, The Mask, Ace Ventura.
Alrighty then.
Will, are you going to come to the recording? You're going to get that,
I'm transphobic.
You're going to get
that classic catchphrase?
You're in your bathroom, you got your plunger, and you're doing the Jim Carrey, and you're like, this is funny, and I don't understand why.
Yeah.
Making silly faces.
Alrighty then, there are only two genders. The classic lines from Ace Ventura. That's right. We will be doing our revisionist appraisal of Ace Ventura.
Revisionist? Like, what is a revisionist appraisal like?
That it's not as good as we thought it was when it was 1994, right?
I'm doing the director's cut of Ace Ventura. It just ends.
That ends 2/3 of the way in.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like, who knows what happened?
Yeah.
It's like Mulholland Drive.
Yeah, it's like The Vanishing.
Yeah.
You don't know how it ends at the end.
But then, The Mask, which I haven't seen in years, and Dumb and Dumber, which I have seen in years.
Yes. Will I come out hating all those films? You'll have to tune in next week to find out. They're films that I have not watched in quite a while.
That's right. Well, we did, and Jim Carrey was one of our first episodes.
We did Ace
podcast.
Ventura on that episode,
and we're gonna come back and we're gonna do them again.
Yeah, I think we need to do them right this time.
Yeah, we were young, we were immature, we didn't know.
It's nice because we could easily do like the bad Jim Carrey or the serious Jim Carrey.
No, Jim Carrey,
1994. That's what we're doing next week.
And until then, the balcony is closed.
My name's Justin Decloux.
I'm Will Sloan.
Thanks for listening. As per usual, I would like to thank some of our new patrons, who include Liam Glendening, Lovely Rose, Carlos Cuba, Meredith Sproul, Nicholas Jarvis, Everett Barnett, Centaur 86, The Orkley Kid, and Alex Rose. Thank you all for becoming patrons. We could not keep doing this without you.
So I've been thinking about the best Roger Ebert moments.
Just recently? Isn't that something that go through your mind at all times?
I'm always thinking of the best Roger Ebert moments. Well, no, here's the thing. I'm always thinking about when he got it wrong. The Taste of Cherry review.
95% of the time.
The Blue Velvet review.
Yeah,
most of his reviews, a lot of them at least. But I'm thinking, what are the times when Roger Ebert did something where I'm like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool that you did that. So, number one, Last House on the Left in the 70s. He was the only critic to like it. He gave it 3.5 stars.
I knew this.
Impressive.
It's shocking.
It's shocking because he hated every other horror movie.
Yeah. This is the address of the horror filmmaker and actor. You go and tell them what they're doing is morally corrupt.
So I also think when he gave 3 stars to The Devil and Miss Jones. Now, the review itself is pretty funny because he spends the whole review trying to justify 3 stars.
Was it on the Peter meter? 3 out of 4?
3 out of 100? Yeah. No, 3 out of 4.
Okay. I mean, that's interesting. That's a Roger Ebert I wish had continued onward.
So when he reviewed Inframan in the 70s, he gave it 2.5 stars. But then 20 years later, he reviewed Mighty Peking Man. He gave it 3, and he said, but I can't in good conscience rate it higher than Inframan. So for the first time ever, I'm officially bumping up a rating. Inframan gets 3 stars. Now, could he have gone higher? Yes.
Yes.
Should he have? Yes.
I always think of his review of Shaolin Soccer.
Ridiculous.
Where he's like, it's so sweatily why he gave it 3 stars, I believe.
3 stars.
Where he's like, well, it's the best martial arts soccer film, blah, blah. To which I want to be like, dude, get this out of your head that there's only one kind of movie.
Well, he literally says something like, if you want my opinion of Shaolin Soccer, you're not asking if I think it's great compared to
Casablanca,
Mystic River or American Beauty. Those are the 2 movies he cites.
Is that the 2 he cites?
Mystic River and American Beauty.
Rules.
And it's like,
I wonder which ones we're talking about now these days.
It's like, Roger, what if I told you Shaolin Soccer on any metric is better
than those 2 movies?
And then I was trying to think of another moment, another great Roger Ebert moment. It's got to be the review of Garfield: A Tale of Two Kitties.
Oh, is that the one? No. So that's not the one where he takes the perspective of Garfield.
Yes, it is.
It is. All right. How does that go?
He writes it as Garfield.
The thing about Roger Ebert is all those moments that you mentioned, the good and the bad, that is Ebert. These are the ones that we always bring up. He did his work for decades. We never talk about the other stuff, other than if you're looking for the median opinion from him.
Isn't it interesting that there are certain critics, though, who their bad takes resonate across time?
Yes.
So, Ebert on Blue Velvet, Pauline Kael on Shoah.
We're all talking about Bosley Crowther, Bonnie and Clyde review.
I guess, I mean,
it got him fired.
Yeah, I guess that is an opinion that resonates across time. You never, though, think of that's the only thing anyone knows about Bosley Crowther.
And he was the top critic at the time.
For years.
Which really goes to show the value a critic has. 0.
The value a critic has
is being wrong.
Yeah. So that years later they can say, can you believe it? Roger Ebert gave 1 star to Taste of Cherry.
What did Roger Ebert give to Mystic River?
4 stars.
Why don't we bring that up as
He gave 4 stars to so much fucking garbage. I mean, I was just thinking about Babel recently.
Yeah.
Not only did he love Babel, he put it in his great movies book. Babel.
I mean, you can't be right all the time, but is it just Roger Ebert's tone was very like, I'm right.
So authoritative. He was
Yeah.
so like he was Mr. America. Yeah.
And that's why, like, all his milk toast sidekicks, once Roper kicked the bucket, is like, oh yeah,
Roper is still alive.
sorry.
I love that you killed off Roper.
I always think of Ebert and Roper. Those are the two heroes.
I mean, that's who our generation grew up with. Although I don't know, did you ever see Ebert and Roper? Did you ever watch that at all?
No, not for a second.
Okay, Ebert.
I never watched Ebert and Siskel, like Siskel and Ebert. I never watched them.
Number five, great Ebert moment. All of Siskel and Ebert.
Yeah.
It's a great sitcom about two bozos.
Yeah.
Talking about art.
Who they don't want to do this job. It was not the first choice.
They were both assigned to be film critic.
Yes.
And, you know.
And I think it's that tension, though, that made them famous.
Well, yeah.
Because if it was Ebert on his own, we would not be talking about him.
That's true.
Like, there's no doubt in my mind.
No, absolutely. Because, like, yeah.
Because are we still thinking of the hot takes that, like, Rex Reed did?
No,
not at all.
Yeah, and like you read Ebert's reviews, and it's like, yeah, well, there's a lot of plot synopsis here, and
but he got that seat that he sits in every time they do press screenings.
That's
you better
right.
get the fuck out of it if you're sitting in it.
No, Siskel and Ebert's a great show because it's two guys who are trying to be the same guy, and they are so mad that there's another guy trying to be that guy. Like, if you look at their top 10 lists for each year, like 7 of the movies are the same on each list. They're the same. Like, if Siskel was alive for the Shaolin soccer debate, like, it's not like he would have been like, like, he would have had no difference of
Do you
opinion.
know that every time an animated film would come up, Siskel would always be like, but is it as good as The Little Mermaid? And it's like, shut up. Like, come on,
the
man.
eternal question?
You know what? They were really...
They were really on TV a lot.
Yeah, complex, and they just had to cut it down, so all their like non-bullet point thoughts got removed.
You know, sometimes if you make fun of Ebert and his star ratings, like his shooters, his fans,
who are the? I know they're out there.
Reddit loves this fucking guy.
But why? But why? I don't understand. Because this is the thing. You are fascinated by Ebert.
Yeah.
People believe you love him.
Well, I kind of
you love him as like that you respect all of his opinions, basically.
Well, it's like I think there are a lot of people who like Ebert because he was there. He's somewhat more elevated than a lot of critics. Yeah, like, you know, he's a good
I think
writer.
one of them is still alive at 100 years old.
Like Gene Shalit. Happy birthday!
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Gene Shalit, the people's Ebert.
Yeah. Mr. Pun himself.
Yeah, no, we love him.
But I think that when you were young, Ebert had a very important place in your life.
Well, and also Ebert was omnipresent.
Yeah.
But Ebert's interesting to me, just as like the middle brow guy, as the mainstream American opinion. And what was that? I think if Ebert was still alive somehow, I don't know. I think it's just interesting. I think film.
Well, yeah. Where do you think he would be in his?
I think film culture. Don't you feel like the people who really care about movies? Like, do you see Ebert's legacy anywhere? The most you see of Ebert's legacy is you'll see a listicle of like 10 movies Roger Ebert hated. North, you know, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like
literally the things we talked about today.
I see Jonathan Rosenbaum's legacy everywhere.
Yeah.
The stuff that he was advocating for, but Roger Ebert, where it's like, I don't know, fucking Junebug. Or,
but we're going to watch Pulp Fiction frame by frame. I remember reading about that, being a teenager and being like, if only I could go to Ebert Fest. That would be the life.
Yeah. I bet people are listening to this so mad at me right now.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think so.
I think these are pretty common thoughts about Ebert, but it's also like a figure that was important in a lot of people's lives. But like other critics, once we're gone, they will be forgotten. No one's going to be reading those books anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Nor should they.
No.
Like, why?
It's kind of like, I mean, unless they want the median of what people thought of at the time.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the worth of Ebert. He spent his last years arguing that video games were not art. And he was obsessed with that.
The reason Ebert was so popular is because he was a good writer who wrote like a pretty good film review, but like it was really accessible. You know, you didn't, and it wasn't challenging at all. And, you know, Ebert was a great self-promoter. He had the website. He was online all the time.
Isn't it weird that website still exists? It's just his name.
RogerEbert.com.
People are writing movie reviews there.
Yeah. Well.
You know what? Me and Will, we're prepared to be forgotten too. Don't worry.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.